Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know, then today we are going to be learning how to price your inventory because we always want to be nice and profitable. So if you want to know how to properly calculate the prices on your items, then keep on watching this video. And before we start, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel because if you've already been here, then you already know that I'm dropping gems every single week on how to start your online boutique. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I would like to start out by saying that in this video, I might be using terms like sometimes, usually, typically, because there's not one single formula that works for every situation because situations can vary and your formulas can change from time to time. So don't feel obligated to stick to just one formula and use that for every single item. Like I said, items are different quality, they are different styles, they are different colors, so don't be afraid to play around and choose something that works for you. But in general, this is going to be a general guideline of how to at the very least be profitable and be profitable enough to where you're not killing your customers with the prices, but profitable enough to where you are making a good amount of money for yourself and your business. So let's go ahead and jump in. I want to start out by saying that there is some key vocabulary that you should know. Now, if you aren't really a beginner and you kind of are more in the intermediate stage or in the advanced stage and you know what these things mean, you can go ahead and skip over this part, but this is specifically for the beginners. And the first vocabulary that I want you to know is revenue and profit. You have to understand that your revenue is not your profit. Your revenue is a total income that comes out plus shipping, plus taxes, plus fees, and that is the total money that you get from that transaction. Now what your profit is, that is the money left over after expenses, and that is the money that is basically going clean into your pocket. Profit and revenue intertwine, but they are different. Your revenue is not your profit. So I think you know what I mean, but for those of you who like examples, I'm just going to give you a quick one. So let's say I buy a shirt for $10, I paid $5 to ship it, $2 to private label it, and $3 for taxes. So in total, I bought this shirt for $20. Now if I go and put that shirt up for sale for $40, then my profit is $20 because 40 minus $20, that included the production costs, that included the private labeling fee, shipping, handling, all that was $20. So 40 minus 20 is $20 in profit. So now that you understand the difference between revenue and profit, we can move on and talk about the markup. So the markup is just the price that you charge your items after taking into account all the expenses. So usually you're going to mark it up by 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times, also known as a 50% profit margin, a 66 to 67% profit margin, and a 75% profit margin. Now if you're a little bit confused, don't worry because I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but all you need to know is that usually we mark it up by 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times, again depending on the quality of the item, the demand for the item, the colors, and things like that. So in the previous example where I purchased a shirt for $20, I multiplied that 20 by 2, so my markup was 2 times the price I paid to get that item. Now one more thing to note, 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times markup are also known as 100% markup, 150% markup, and 200% markup, but I personally prefer to use the multiplying system because I think it's a whole lot easier, because why mix up all the percentages when we still have profit margins to worry about and all these other things. So personally, I think it's easier to just multiply your cost by 2, 3, or 4 than to multiply it by 100%, 150%, or 200%. I just think that is way too much work, and I prefer to do it 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times, but that is going to be up to your personal preference. So with that being said, now that you know what markup is, the last term that you need to understand is profit margins. Now don't get too confused with this one because when I go and take you to the actual back end, you're going to see that it's a lot easier to understand than what I'm about to tell you. So the profit margin is the percent profit you made in comparison to the cost of the product. So for example, if our item is selling for $10 and after all the expenses and everything, we multiply it by 3 and we sell it for $30, then that means we marked it up by 3 times and our profit margins are 66%. So like I said, don't get too tied up in this. I'm going to get into this later. It's going to be easier for you to understand. So that's all you need to know. You need to know the revenue, profit, markup, and profit margins. So now before we get into like the math calculations and into the actual pricing of the items, you also need to understand that you need to set the tone for the value of your products. So if you are selling cheap things from China or Shein or Alibaba and nobody would pay more than $10 for it, do not be charging it $40, because if you wouldn't pay $40 for it, why would somebody else? So be fair with your pricing and be honest with yourself. And then on the other hand, if you are trying to be a high-end boutique and you want to be like Louis Vuitton or Fashion Nova Luxe or one of these other luxury brands, make sure you are delivering that quality. Make sure your customers feel like they're getting what they're paying for, and don't be afraid to charge prices that you think are fair to your product. Think about Louis Vuitton. We all know it does not take thousands of dollars to manufacture those wallets and purses, but people are still purchasing those items because Louis Vuitton has set that tone for their brand. They have set the standard that we are luxury, we are expensive, and if you buy us, you are purchasing a status symbol. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to overcharge your products if you are building that brand for yourself, but also be fair and honest, and don't be charging for things that are just not worth the money. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the actual pricing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys into an Excel sheet that I made, and it's just going to show kind of the basic breakdowns of what we're going to use to determine our pricing. Okay, so in this example, the cost of purchasing our item is $15, the cost to ship it is $5, and the taxes are $3. So in this case, our total cost to make this item was $23. Now, what are you going to do with that $23? Well, let's think. If you were a customer, first of all, what would you want to pay for this item? Now, before you answer that, one of the rules that you always need to follow is that you need to have at least a 2 times markup in order to be profitable selling this item. Now, in my personal boutique, I usually go with 2.5 to 3, but sometimes I will do 2 depending on the quality of the item. So let's say this shirt is pretty nice, but you don't think that you can sell it for a high-end ticket price, like let's say $60, $70. Well, if we want to mark this item up by 2 times, then the price for this item would be $46, our profit would be $23, and our profit margins would be 50%. So I don't know if that really helped to explain it, but basically what I'm trying to say is basically we are going to be determining the cost of the item after expenses and marking it up by 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times, while at the same time evaluating that product and understanding if it's worth that value. Now let's say that you are selling this item and you do think that it can make more than a 50% profit margin. Well, now you can take this item, multiply 23 by 3, and sell this item for $69 to $70. So now your profits are $46 and your profit margins are 66%. So that's all that part really is as far as calculating the actual price of the inventory and sort of the formula that you want to follow. I know I've already said this, but I just want to reiterate this because I know that was a lot of information to just take in. So the actual formula for calculating the price of your item is just the price that you paid after expenses and everything multiplied by the markup that you have decided. So all that other information that is meant to help you decide on how much you want to mark up your item and what profit margins you want, but the actual formula is just the product cost plus expenses multiplied by the markup. So some additional information for you guys, if you're wondering how I calculate my expenses on the product, basically what I do is I have an Excel sheet where I track all my private labeling expenses by taking the price of the item, the count of what I'm getting it for, and dividing the price by the count to get what the cost per client is. And what I do is I basically add all those numbers together, and for my personal store, that number is $2.26. So the way I do this is I take the item's base cost, I calculate the shipping that was charged by the supplier, and then I add that $2.26 for private labeling, and then multiply that by 2 or 3 to get the price for my item. Now on top of this, of course, I evaluate it, and I'm not going to overcharge for something that I wouldn't pay $50 for, $40 for, $60 for, and determine the pricing that way, and that is how I do that. So now we are going to go ahead and go into Shopify so you can see how easy this really is, and that way you can really understand what the profit margins look like and that it's really not that hard. So we're going to go ahead and go to Shopify, and we're going to create a new product. So let's just call this product test product 1, and let's just assume we already added the pictures, inventory, and all of that. And let's go ahead and go into the pricing. So let's say that we purchased this item at $45 and we are choosing at this point to charge $120. So now you can see that Shopify will automatically calculate the profit and the margins for you, so you don't really have to worry about that. Here you can see that the margins would be 62.5% and our profit will be $75. I think it's also worth mentioning that you are not stuck to just the 50, 66, and 75% profit margin. Profit margins can exceed 75% and be 99%. They can be 100%, they can be 43%. Hell, they can even be negative. So don't think that you are just stuck to these three. You are free to create your own margins. There are just recommendations to at least have a 50% profit margin in order to be profitable in the long term. So as long as you understand the first parts that I talked about in this video, doing this in your website host should really be simple and easy. So I hope this video helped you out. I really don't think that pricing your inventory is more complex than that. And this video alone should give you just a really good, solid foundation on how to price your products properly. And if there was anything that was confusing in this video or you still have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below and let me know if this helped you out. So I want to just say thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you so much if you have already subscribed or if you are about to subscribe right now. And also make sure to like this video and comment on it so that way it can help the algorithm and that way I can push out more free videos for you guys and you can have my eternal gratitude for liking this video. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. And thank you guys again so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!